Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another brand new special edition of the Shenk and Spence show. And we just witnessed a absolute thriller in the Green Bay, Arizona game. We were glued, our eyes were glued to our seats, our eyes were glued to the screen. Unbelievable ending, turn of events. What's your first reaction, Spence? I'm still in shell shock. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I thought looking at that game, Aaron Rodgers, he's invincible, Shenko. It's unbelievable that he threw up two Hail Marys, and I was watching and I just went ballistic when Jeff Janis, who the heck is Jeff Janis? Like a fourth-string wide receiver making two of the biggest plays in playoff history, back-to-back, 4th and 20 from your end zone, completing a 57-yard pass, and then completing a Hail Mary at the horn like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. That's what we're going to remember from this game is Aaron Rodgers' heroics. Dude, I've never seen a guy have as much arm strength as Aaron Rodgers. He is the mecca of arm strength as a quarterback, the most entertaining player to watch, great persona off the field as well, and very, very likable. And I really wanted to see Green Bay. I was a neutral fan going into this, but it would have been cool to see Green Bay get at least one more crack in overtime to try to follow up on their heroics late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't talk about the end. We got to start from the beginning. You know, this is what a great game from top to bottom. I mean, at the first drive, you know, it was first quarter. Excuse me. It was really exciting. Basically back and forth field position. You know, Carson Palmer, you know, hit guys in stride. It's a great pass of Malcolm Floyd to the top right corner of the end zone, which made 7-0. At times he's got great arm and accurate, but we'll get to his blunders later. But there are also some thoughts I have so far. I mean, Randall Cobb, you know, he had a great couple plays here and there, and then he actually left the game early with a apparent injury. I'm not sure what it was, but he dropped some balls too. He didn't look consistent enough. But Green Bay, I mean, what unbelievable! It's so amazing that they were even here at this point because you have no Jordy Nelson. You have guys stepping in who haven't played the position. Like there's guys who are on practice squad, and now they're in the biggest game of their lives. Guys like Jared Appidaris, Jeff Janis, and guys just stepping off.
Guys off the practice squad.
Yeah, exactly. Guys like that, and James Jones, and you know, Rodgers be able to scramble and keep the play alive early in the game. Really kept a really close game. I think both teams, you know, matched up perfectly for this game. Really was a back and forth, really a neck and tuck game in the first half. I believe it was like 7-6, you know, only the first half.
I was so surprised at this outcome. Green Bay defense played spectacular the entire game, shutting down Carson Palmer, forcing him into two interceptions that were just atrocious interceptions by Palmer. They were hitting hard. They were flying around the ball, putting pressure on him throughout. And Arizona's defense, to its credit, after the Eddie Lacy run in the third quarter, their defense started to really dictate and control the game. And that's what makes Arizona a very special team is their defense. Patrick Peterson was really a special player in this game. And they controlled the game defensively later in the third quarter after the Lacy run. When the Packers went and scored a touchdown there, you kind of felt like the momentum was with Green Bay. But Arizona didn't let Green Bay go. And that was the key parts of the game for Arizona is that they just took control of the second half really until the last minute of the game.
They really did. And I think that watching the game really – I think Green Bay, you know, they really struggled at the end. What a big turn of events, which we'll get to that in a second. You know, they really messed up on Fitzgerald in overtime. What a throw that was. But I think most of the game, starting off the game, Green Bay was inconsistent. They had a lot of illegal motion penalties, illegal procedures, really not what you want to see as a playoff team going forward. And I really enjoyed what Arizona's defense did. They really disguised the blitzes, got from guys like Bethel and Peterson coming on disguised blitzes, and would disrupt Rodgers' vision across the board with, you know, his vision with the field. I know he's a great quarterback, but when you disguise blitzes like that, it's really hard for guys to, you know, scramble out of the pocket and really make some big plays for your team. And I think Arizona defense did a really good job in the first half, you know, containing Rodgers to only putting up about 6 points in the first half.
Last week, when Rodgers was playing Washington, for the first quarter or second quarter, Rodgers was missing throws that he usually makes, and it just seemed like his whole persona was deflated, Shenko. When you watched him play Washington in the first half, and he was just missing Randall Cobb and missing wide-open receivers, and the Redskins were actually controlling that game, it kind of felt like this year for Green Bay was slipping. It felt like it was slipping away, and it felt like Green Bay would never get the momentum needed to make a run in these playoffs. And then the fourth quarter happened, where A-Rod caught fire, Eddie Lacy, and they utterly dominated Washington. And the whole question this week was is that going to be a springboard to Green Bay playing their best football, or are they going to be the same team of the past 4 weeks, the same team that got embarrassed in Arizona, lost to Minnesota the last week of the season? And for Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews in the play and Julius Peppers, they had the ability to just turn on that switch tonight. And they were just fantastic. Arizona's a heck of a team, but Aaron Rodgers, the way that he can run, the way that he can elude rushers, throw, on the run, either on, rushing to his right or to his left, he's one of the more talented players ever to play the game of football. Especially at the quarterback position. He's just electric to watch. And watching Alex Smith and Tom Brady was okay. That game was pretty boring for the most part. It's what a lot of people expected. But watching Aaron Rodgers, that's always entertainment at its best.
He always seems like a surgery guy. Excuse me. It's kind of similar to like Tom Brady, like we saw earlier with how he destroyed the Chiefs' defense today. Unbelievable. And, I watched this game, and I think Green Bay got some gifts from Carson Palmer, who, his jury's still out if he can really play a primetime game. He's 0-2 in the playoffs. He really, survived under the really hard years. He survived some tough years out in Cincinnati. He had a stint out in Raiderland.
Yeah, he got hurt in one of those playoff games too, if you remember, a nasty hit.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the big hit where I think he tore his ACL. Really, he really had a really black eye for games.
Yeah, exactly.
His jury was out, and he definitely was losing his swagger going into the fourth quarter. As I said, Carson Palmer basically gave Green Bay a gift where he threw a ball. I don't know if Carson Palmer's finger had something to do with it, but he threw a horrible pass in the top right corner of the end zone. He threw off his back foot, something that quarterback's coach will scream at you every time, that you make these kinds of plays. And what a really turn of events, and it really was a momentum shift for them. And then Green Bay magically just, or Arizona's happy that they actually have a fifth-ranked defense to be able to stop, a top guy like Green Bay. But I just want to jump right into, where it really gets really.
You know what the play of the game was before the Hail Mary, which was crucial before we talk about those heroics. Carson Palmer forces a ball really into double coverage. He's intending the ball for, I believe, Larry Fitzgerald. It bounces off like two guys, and it could have been an interception. And it magically bounces into the hands of the Arizona Cardinals receiver. And sometimes the football gods are going to give you some, and sometimes they're going to take away. And for Carson Palmer, as we described with his whole career, never winning a playoff game, but still at times being a very elite quarterback in the NFL, this year I think was really Carson's window to seize the moment, to win a playoff game. And that's where the storyline really lied, was could Carson Palmer ever win a playoff game in his storied career? Or like you said, Shenko, is he just not ready for prime time? Does he choke on the biggest stages? And for Carson Palmer, that play definitely, I think, lifted his spirits a bit and was a play that really changed the momentum of the game. For Arizona to score a touchdown from the 15-yard line, that began the chaos.
And even right before that, when they were driving down for a potential game or get another field goal or a touchdown, there was a huge third down play where he just threw it into the eyes of the defense, and the guy just started backing up. He fell on his back for a first down. He got it on a football. He got the first down by the skin of his nose.
Amazing play by David Johnson.
Amazing play to really turn the momentum around. And then I want to also what happened at the end too with the play calling. Green Bay, they turned the ball over on downs. Rodgers threw a horrible pass to James Jones in the ground, and that basically gave Cardinals more life. And now we're going to bring in the all-time controversy where Bruce Arians, what are you doing? You have your 2 minutes left of the game. You could easily drive the field all the way the time all the way down to 1:20. You know what he does on second down? He lobs a lob pass to Fitzgerald where it's an incomplete pass. The time is stopped, and now what Arizona has to do is they have to run it to the 2-minute warning, and then they gave Aaron Rodgers more life and more time to be able to improvise, and lo and behold, he made these unbelievable plays, like you said it earlier in the show, 4th and 20, unbelievable. There was also plays on that drive where they should have had pass interference called on the defense, wasn't even called. So I'm actually happy. I'm happy that Green Bay actually got that first down because I believe, in my eyes, opinion, because a lot of people in America will believe, on my eyes too as well, that was pass interference.
Well, and he's grabbing the inside of his jersey.
Yeah, I mean, he grabbed on his jersey, as you can see. They were he had his hand on him, like on his grab.
Freedom of motion.
That was horrible by them. And then also to be able to make Aaron Rodgers magic, as you claim all the time. He's awesome, man. He's great. He heaves it just like he did at the Lions game. Unbelievable fashion to be able to tie the game at 20-20.
By the way, the catch was more impressive on the Hail Mary. How Jeff Janis made an unbelievably athletic play because with Richard Rodgers kind of just floated under that like he was catching a fly ball in center field.
And he was going backwards too.
Janis fully springed back, collided with Peterson, and had the concentration and wherewithal to still catch the football. And to have Hail Marys happen is so rare in 1 year. To have lightning strike twice like this tonight,
basically.
No, in the biggest playoff moment of the year, I think if Green Bay would have won this game, it would have been, I'd say, a top 5 playoff game of all time. And I still think that this could be a top 10 playoff game just with that Hail Mary alone. The whole game was fantastic from start to finish with Rodgers and Carson Palmer. The defenses played great the whole way. And you know what I learned from this game? Is that if you have an elite quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, if you have veteran leadership and a coaching staff that's been there before, you should never be counted out. And I was thinking during that game, Shenk, we predicted that Green Bay would just not have the firepower to hang with Arizona, and we couldn't have been more wrong because Green Bay – That was incredible, the performance they laid out today. And if they got a couple more bounces, Green Bay could be going to the conference final. This is a team, Arizona beat Green Bay 38-6, but it just shows you in the playoffs when the chips are on the table in this league, the NFL, you need supreme quarterback play. And Carson Palmer ain't a slouch either. And he got past it. He won today. Out of the 4 quarterbacks, Alex Smith was the worst quarterback in this field today, and he lost to Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. You just look at the quarterbacks that are in this field: Cam, Russell, Ben, Peyton. When you get down to the end of the heap, Shenko, that's what you see. Quarterbacks reign supreme in this league.
Absolutely, and I think where this game ranks, probably one of the great throws. Best game of all playoffs. Kind of seems like, as a lot of our listeners will find out.
Mary at the horn.
That I can remember one game really comes off the top of my head. 1990 NFC Championship game where Lawrence Taylor made that great play on Taylor to make a great fumble, and then Hostetler drives him down with a Matt Barr field goal to send it into the Super Bowl for Super Bowl 25. That was a great game. Also in 2011, you had the Eli driving him down for another game-winning field goal by Tynes, and That was another great thriller in NFL playoff history. But going into overtime, Green Bay. I want to give some limelight to Green Bay here, because for them to go so far and you lose your guy Jordy Nelson earlier in the year with a torn ACL, it's even a miracle that they're even in this position to be able to win this game against a high-powered Arizona defense with Patrick Peterson and Bethel and those boys and Dwight Freeney and guys like Julius Peppers to be able to coming down your throat like that. Unbelievable.
I feel for Green Bay in other ways, because Rodgers and all of the momentum that they got from all that jolt from the Hail Mary. A lot of people were saying too, Shenko, should Green Bay have gone for 2? And 2020 is or hindsight is always 2020. And I think that would have been inappropriate, because I liked that they took the extra point, had all the momentum in overtime, could have won the coin toss. Unfortunately, they didn't. And their defense was strong pretty much the whole game. And Fitzgerald just made what Hall of Famers he made a play that Hall of Famers make. And Larry Fitzgerald on that play, Carson made nice plays to maneuver out of the pocket, but Fitzgerald refusing to go out of bounds. The guy is a flat-out winner, and you can't help but be happy for Fitzgerald, because he truly is a class professional that I really respect in this league.
Absolutely, and we wouldn't even be talking about this if the referees would flip a coin correctly, because they, as you could see in the right before the play,
what the heck was up with that,
right before the overtime started, you can't even flip a coin. It goes up in the air and it doesn't flip, and then they know there's Green Bay guys saying that's our ball, and then they'll say, oh, it didn't flip. Well, there should be other machines that do it, like simulations of who gets the ball, who doesn't.
That's crushing. What a crushing loss for Green Bay, man. After Seattle last year, remember when Bostick couldn't recover the onside kick and they missed out on a chance to play for Super Bowl?
Yeah, they were one fingertip away from that Super Bowl last year. It could have been the Packers, losing, and we could have been talking about Aaron Rodgers making that big blunder at the 1 yard line for New England when they drove them all the way down to the 1 yard line.
That's true.
You could have just ran it with Eddie Lacy instead of.
It could have been. I think it would have been a different game, though. I don't know if the game would have went exactly the same if Green Bay was playing if Green Bay was playing New England, but. Oh, these are crushing losses for Aaron Rodgers. But I think if Rodgers stays healthy 8 more years, I think he's going to get another championship. I mean, he has a great chance.
Absolutely, and I have to question some of the Bruce Arians' play call, especially going towards the end. And he's really a lucky man to be able to escape what a unbelievable great fashion this game ended in. Like I said, what a thriller this game was. Unreal.
You know what? I feel bad for Green Bay, because I believe Green Bay was in the AFC and they played the Patriots today. Green Bay looked like a better team. Just from watching them, they look like a better team than New England. I can argue that in the NFC, Shenko, there are 3 teams that can compete and beat Denver and the Patriots. Carolina, Seattle, Arizona, and Green Bay. That's actually 4 teams. So it seems the NFC is so much better than the AFC this year. It's not even funny.
It's funny you say that now, because you wouldn't be saying that like 3 or 4 years ago, because the AFC absolutely was so much better, a couple of years ago when you had Peyton Manning over in Indianapolis. Then you had Tom Brady still in the prime of his career. He's still in his prime now even, but even guys that have to be able to make plays for you. And it's such a turn of events now. Guys just get better as they progress. And wow, I'm just still like
I'm shell shocked at just the Hail Mary play that was converted.
What's that?
There were so many big plays. The Hail Mary that was converted. I mean, no one could really see that coming. That is so uber rare. From the 50-yard line to actually have him catch the ball. I was in a bar watching with a couple of people, and all 25 people in the bar just erupted, football fans or not. And that's why you watch these games, man. Just special moments in sports. And tonight we saw one of them on the biggest stage.
Absolutely. And I have one more question to you, Spence, before we end the show. I think that if you're Arizona right now, do you want to host Seattle, one of the best top defenses? They in week 16 they absolutely destroyed the Cardinals 38-7 on their home turf, or you want to go on the road cross country to the Dab and Cam Newton and those boys, and play guys like Josh Norman, Luke Kuechly, Pro Bowlers in this league. Who it's like pick your poison. Like, who do you want to play against? Like, woo.
Well, not one option isn't much better than the other, but I'm clearly going to pick the Carolina Panthers because not only did you get to go there last year, you got to go to their stadium last year, and I know it was with Ryan Lindley, but Seattle beat you badly in Week 17. Seattle's held the banner. They've been your bigger brother for the past couple of years. They have so much experience. Russell Wilson knows your defensive scheme so well. You got to go and take Carolina for sure. Seattle is so scary. You don't want to play against all those Hall of Famers. Seattle's building what seems like a dynasty. They could get to their third Super Bowl in 3 consecutive years. They're a juggernaut. Their defense is unbelievable with Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. You can't throw on them at all. You're going to have a lot more success throwing against the Carolina Panthers than you are the Seattle Seahawks. So for me, I think it's going to be a pretty decisive answer that the Arizona Cardinals should be rooting for Carolina to win tomorrow.
No matter what, it's going to
be. What do you think
great.
About that?
No matter. I want to say this first. Well, no matter what, it's going to be a great game to watch. And I think that the Seattle Seahawks, as you've alluded to, are building a dynasty. It seems like they're a better version of the Buffalo Bills in the 1990s, because the Seattle Seahawks have won a Super Bowl, and now they might go on to win or lose even more Super Bowls, in the near future. So they seem like a better version of those 1990 Bills. But if I'm the Cardinals right now, I think that I'd be happy with whoever I want to play against, because that's who the players will say, whoever they say in the locker room in those interviews. But if I'm the Cardinals, I think I'd rather go play the Carolina Panthers on the road because, I think Seattle has your number. I mean, they've already played you guys twice. And, you can also make an argument, too, that, you guys know what the Seattle Seahawks can bring. You've seen them twice already this year. You know what they're made about. The blueprint is out to beat them. The blueprint was out to beat them last week up in Minnesota, where it was really extremely
it takes a lot of mental capacity, Shenko, to beat the top dog.
It does. It really does. And I think that no matter what, I think that for better matchup purposes, I think it's going to be they should go on the road and play Carolina, because I think they match up better with Cam and those boys because of those factors that you've mentioned before.
You know what's interesting about the Seattle Seahawks is just mentally, like how you're the alpha dog, in the NFL, like going to these Super Bowls, and you have Russell Wilson, and you just seem invincible and unbeatable. Well, Seattle mentally makes you wear down. I mean, I've seen so many teams choke against Seattle, the Legion of Boom, the 12s. Seattle's team has that confidence about them, and it just makes you nervous if you're an opposing team. Look at Green Bay last year. They were in great shape to win, versus Seattle in the NFC Championship game. They were up, I believe, 2 or 3 scores late in the ball game. They let Seattle recover an onside kick. They let Russell Wilson throw on them deep. They missed assignments, and they blew the game. And Blair Walsh and the Vikings blew the game.
Sure.
And when you're playing a team like Seattle that's had so much success, those nerves don't really factor in. Whereas Carson Palmer is on the other side of the coin tonight. When Green Bay went to go play Arizona, this is not a historically dominant team. This is a team that they see that they have a chance to beat. And Carson Palmer has never gotten over that hump. And even though Carson Palmer on the surface might not say, you know what, me never winning a playoff game is not going to impact my performance. Well, guess what? In the back of your mind, it does, and it did impact his performance tonight because you could tell he was nervous and struggling, and that's just part of human emotion and nature, and that's why Carolina in a roundabout way, Arizona should want to face the Carolina Panthers, a team that hasn't asserted its dominance yet.
Yes, and I think that to piggyback off your point, I'm going to go on record and say the way there's the blueprint is out to easily beat to beat the Cardinals, especially the way they've been playing recently. They almost that game could have went either way. It could have been Green Bay maybe hosting a championship game or going on the road to Carolina, but I think the winner of tomorrow's game of Seattle and Carolina is going to be your NFC representative in the Super Bowl, just because of the fact that I think that they're just. I think the Cardinals are, like I said before, the jury's still out on Carson Palmer, and I'm a little bit shaky about that defense. The way they dialed up the play against the Green Bay, they let 2 big Hail Marys happen. They called timeouts to let Rodgers get some more momentum and time to talk with McCarthy to devise a scheme to be able to beat the Cardinals, and they almost did. So I think that the Carolina Panthers, they also have something to prove. So as long as Seattle, they still have that bad taste from last year from the Malcolm Butler interception in Super Bowl 49.
No doubt. Should be a fantastic game tomorrow, Shenko.
Absolutely, and that's good. And that's going to wrap it up today, folks. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, like, comment. We want to hear what you guys want to say. Come on out and join us anytime you guys want.
Comment all the time.
Thanks to you too, and I appreciate you coming out tonight. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Take care, guys.